let's just get into it, man. Let's get into the right. Let's get into the right one. There we go. There we go. All right. You can hear me, okay? I hope.
I can hear you.
You can see me moving around and doing all my ish.
Yeah, there's none of you freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into it, man, because it would be fun to go live again. Because one of the things that I really want to do, coming up, is I'm gonna do another draft show. Right, that draft reaction show was fun as hell, man.
It was the assassin draft.
No, I'm talking the NFL draft.
Oh, I'll do the draft. Oh yeah, that's fun.
Because remember, I did that last year with P.
That's right.
And I'm gonna do that again, man. I'm gonna do that again. So I have to mess around and see what's going on. But anyway, man, welcome to the first episode of Martha's Son in 2021. Should be a good time. The third member of our tribe is not here today. I don't know why. He probably just is still angry at me for something I did. I don't know what I did.
That is select cuisine.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel slighted because it wasn't his Steelers year.
Man. There's a lot.
Started off 11-0. After the 11-0, it got bad fast.
Oh yeah. We could talk a little bit about that because I don't know. I think the Steelers themselves, man, that is a very to me it's an extraordinarily interesting topic about what they're going to do. It's gonna be such a.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a shocker for me seeing them just. I mean, it's just the crazy part is I didn't even. I wasn't even watching the game, and then I was like, oh yeah, put the games on. I was like, okay, only like 10 minutes has gone by since the beginning of the game, so I was like, all right, I want to see 21-0 when I logged on. I was like, what? 21-0? What the hell is going on? I'm like, something's wrong somewhere, and then they showed all the turnovers. I'm like, yo, I was like, you guys have a quarterback problem, or what's the issue?
My thing is, and we won't spend the whole show on the Steelers, man, but Steelers are probably the most disappointing team in the NFL right now.
Ooh, that's a pretty big statement, man.
Yeah. Z just says he has to help his aunt with the toilet. And he can't get on.
Yeah.
It's all right, Z. I can't get off. It's the same thing, man.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, no, I mean, remember, this is a Steeler team that went 8-8 last year, and with Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph as quarterbacks, and all of a sudden, it was supposed to be Ben's coming back, his arm's feeling better than ever. They got all these weapons. They got the best defense.
He looked great. He looked great.
Ben, I have a feeling Ben's big problem is his ego.
Oh.
Right.
I guess to a certain extent. Yeah, that's part of it. But he has good leadership skills, and he tries to get everyone involved from the jump.
He's
been down this road many times. His team just faltered this year.
Here's why I say that Ben is a big part of the problem, and you've seen this year over year over year. Think about those games where Ben will go off like 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, 400 yards. He's just balling, right? What happens the next few weeks after that game? He just gets really pass happy. They abandon the run. He's throwing the ball all over, and eventually he regresses back down to the mean, starts throwing interceptions, and they lose.
I mean, but you got to give him that this year because they didn't have a run game. You know what I mean?
No, but
which is odd, because it's like that's what they're predicated on. It's like a really good offensive line.
Most coaches will tell you that run game isn't about yards; it's about attempts.
Okay.
And I think that was.
But you have as many attempts as you have. If you're not getting yards, what's the point?
Well, it's because if a defense automatically knows what you're going to be doing, then they can game plan for it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I saw this year in the first few weeks of the season, maybe like the first 5 up until the Tennessee game, they were a little bit more balanced. Their offense was a little bit more schematic. They were putting people in motion. They were doing some different things. Then Ben had the game against Tennessee, one of his big games. And after that, it was just a dink and dunk game over and over again that Z keeps talking about. Like, they weren't taking shots downfield. He was just trying to get rid of the ball. They stopped doing all the motion. They stopped doing all that new fancy stuff that they brought Matt Canada in to do. And they went right back to what Ben wanted to do. Like, he did not want to change. And he didn't want to get hit. Like, all that stuff. So, it's tough, but it just is what it is, man. I mean, that's just my opinion, but it seems like it.
But it's like, and what do they do in the draft? You know what I mean? Like, what? I mean, their defense is pretty good, man. I think, not having Bush in and who's the other cat that got hurt?
Bud Dupree.
Those are some two outstanding linebackers, man. You lose them like basically in like back-to-back weeks.
They had offensive line injuries. I mean, they had a lot, but they got to get younger. Their offensive line isn't as good. But as of right now, sorry, Uncle Steve, that's irrelevant because they're not in the playoffs, and we're in Championship Sunday, man. And we got ourselves some games today.
We got some baller games, dude. Holy crap. About the quarterbacks.
Yeah, this might be the best crop of quarterbacks that be in the championship game in a while.
Yeah.
Every team's got a solid quarterback. Even freaking Josh Allen. God,
see, I told you, beginning of the year. I said Josh Allen is a baller quarterback.
And I said Baker Mayfield was better.
Yes,
okay.
You did.
Okay. Let me take a step back. I'm still not going to admit that I'm wrong because I hate the guy so much. But I was reading some statistics off of Pro Football Focus, and Josh Allen has the biggest year 3 jump in terms of improvement out of the history of the modern NFL.
How about that?
And it is a statistical anomaly that he got to be as good. Like, he was not trending this way. Like, even going back, like, rookie seasons, like, you heard me talk about Tua this year and, I'm ready to cut him and everything. Tua had statistically a better rookie season than Josh Allen. He had higher completion percentage, less interceptions, more touchdowns, more yards per throw. I mean, like, all those main things. Better in the pocket. He did all of that better than Josh Allen. Josh Allen was completing like 50% of his passes his rookie year.
Yeah, and I was at like 70%.
Yeah. Like, his Pro Football Focus rating last year was like 64, and it was 89 this year.
Damn. It was only 64 last year?
Yeah, not his passer rating. This is a
right.
Pro Football Focus. They have their own metric that they've made up.
Right.
I think it's out of 100.
But still, that's pretty low. I don't think it was that. He shouldn't have been that low. Jeez. Good guy was 70.
Yeah, he struggled last year.
He struggled, but it wasn't.
He was inconsistent.
It wasn't like you were throwing more interceptions than touchdowns. You know what I mean?
No, but it was. But there's a lot that goes into that. So when Pro Football Focus looks at their passer rating, it's not just like interceptions, touchdowns, yards. I think they even, like, I have to look at the details, but they may even take into consideration catchable passes, yards per separation, adjusted completion percentage, take account for drops and things like that. Like I heard in that Buffalo, like that Tua game against Buffalo where they just got drubbed. I guess there was like 14 dropped passes that game.
Oof. Jeez, 14?
So, adding Cole Beasley, adding Stephon Diggs, having a decent defense, decent running back. I mean, I think a lot of that comes into play.
Yeah, a lot of that came into play, but Stephon Diggs, he was like a revelation this year. It's like we always knew how good and talented he was. And you know what? It just seemed like he was. I was like him going to Buffalo. Everyone's kind of like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. He's going to make him a little bit better. I don't think he'll be this much. You know,
No,
I don't think
neither did
I don't think he'd be top 3 wide receiver this year
No.
in the league.
I mean,
You
he's
know,
always
it's
had
like-
that potential. I think he just kind of got bitter that he wasn't the man because Adam Thielen was the man over there in Minnesota.
Yeah, Thielen was the man, but it's like, well, look at Justin Jefferson. Look what he did in his rookie campaign.
Oh yeah.
Justin Jefferson's nice. That dude he's a baller, man. So I think he'll be just fine too. It's like,
yes. So let's get to the games. Let's get to the games, man. Let's just talk elephant in the room, man. Buffalo, Chiefs. Who do you got?
Buffalo.
Really?
Buffalo. I do. In an upset. I do.
You want them to be the first team to ever win 5 or lose 5 Super Bowls?
Dude, as much as I can't stand them, man, it's like, you know what? They come from the AFC East, man. We gotta go with our home division.
You see, okay.
But as far as I think their defense is extremely tough to get through, and I think Patrick Mahomes is gonna have a tougher time dealing with this squad. You know, he's been tested quite a lot, but I think this will be his probably toughest matchup of the year, personally.
I don't subscribe to that you have to root for your home division theory, because if I hate them, I hate them. And I hate Buffalo, and I don't want Buffalo to win. And putting all of that aside, objectively, Kansas City's a better team. Like, one of Buffalo's weaknesses is they can't defend the run very well. Ed Oliver is not very good on the run. They have a light linebackers. They're fast, really fast, but they're light.
Yes.
And
They're also like, I think they're statistically the worst team against the tight ends this year as well.
Yeah, and that's gonna be bad because they have to go against Travis Kelce. They're gonna have to go against.
They have to go up against
Clyde.
They have to go up against Mark Andrews, and Mark Andrews didn't have a good game. Like they shut him down, you know.
Yeah, but you're talking about what? Lamar Jackson. This is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick.
Then that would mean they're going up against back-to-back NFL MVPs.
Yeah.
You know, it's remarkable when you think about it. But I think Buffalo can do this, man. I really see them pulling off this upset. I don't know. Casey's the clear runaway favorite to win the whole thing. I mean, nobody should be beating them.
Yeah.
But like all these teams are solid. All these teams have a decent defense. You know, I mean, nobody has a suspect defense.
Yeah.
You know, they're all solid.
The only thing that gives me pause about KC is the turf toe right now that Mahomes has. But I mean, he just can make way too many incredible plays. It's like he's like Brett Favre with he's Brett Favre in like his improvisation. He's Dan Marino in the pocket. He's John Elway on the move. He's like
I would say so. He's even like Steve Youngish when it comes to running.
Yeah.
He's not Lamar Jackson. He's definitely Steve Young when it comes to running out of pocket.
He's one of the most complete quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life.
Nobody can deny that. But everybody has their day.
Everybody has their day, yes.
And this might be his day. I'm thinking of this. And I think if he lost, I think it would be better for them because, you know what? Success breeds contempt, and they're about to get a lot. They're on the cusp.
Really? How are you in any position to talk about success breeding contempt as a Patriots fan? You're talking about success, I hate that. If you mean success breeds contempt in terms of hatred from other people around the league, then yes. If you mean hey, they're going to be content, their success and they're not hungry or anything.
No. Contempt from the other players in the league. Hating them, man. Like a lot of hatred has is going to start brewing if it's not already there. And if they win this year, if they win the Super Bowl this year, I can guarantee you that target's going to get bigger, and hate is going to be more. You hear more people say, "Oh, I hate the Chiefs." Why? Because they're winning. They're winners.
Yeah.
and then they'll keep winning, and the hate will continue.
My dad already hates them, so it's all good.
Oh, see?
He's a Raiders fan, man. He's like, I hate Patrick Mahomes, man. I hate that smug smile. But I don't know, man. Yeah, every dog has their day. Every dog has their day, but I mean, this is such a complete team. Now, when this window may close pretty quickly because of how much money they're going to be paying Patrick Mahomes, and Tom Brady. Not everybody's going to get the Tom Brady hometown discount for a number of years that the Patriots got. So they may not be able to keep this team together much longer. But, I mean, I'm just looking at it right now. How do you defend Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, Hardman? You got Damon Williams, Hilaire coming out of the backfield.
Well, technically, from what I've seen from past champions, is you take away what they like to do the best.
And what do they like to do the best?
Well,
that's the problem.
It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up between Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce getting the ball in one of those two people's hands. So
here's the problem with taking away Tyreek Hill, and he's no way, shape, or form in the stratosphere of Randy Moss, but he's like Randy Moss in that it is impossible to cover him deep because you are just not fast enough.
Right.
And they move him around. Like Andy Reid, in my opinion, right now is the best offensive designer in the league.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So
especially given what he has to work with, the personnel. I mean, he's done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, he's always put together great offenses. I mean, I think he abandons the run a little bit too much, but that is what that is.
Yeah, because everybody was expecting Clyde Edwards-Helaire to really
yes,
be something else this year, and he fell extremely short of that. So I'm like, it's funny because in fantasy this year, in fantasy football, my friends I joined this dynasty league. Someone dumped their team, and I picked it up and had first pick overall. Of course, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Then I noticed, man, after week 5, I'm like, this dude ain't doing nothing, man. I'm not impressed. So I traded him and another player for DK Metcalf.
Mm-hmm.
And DK, it's a beast. To me, he's easily top 10 wide receivers in the league. He's the future of wide receivers in the league. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I don't know, he's going to have to. Even today, they said he's coming back, but he hasn't been impressive, man. And I was like, is it because of repetition? Is he not getting enough carries?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with him?
I don't know.
That's to me, that's a real tough one. Great player, has all the tools, has a great offense built around him. It should be pretty much just plug and play. He should have been. He was already set up to be Rookie of the Year. But then Justin Herbert and Justin Jefferson said, "Hold my beer, let me get in this race," because those dudes are pretty good too, man. It was an overall great rookie class as well.
Yeah, except for Tua, but we won't go there.
Tua is not bad, man. Jeez.
Anyway,
I would love to have Tua. I'll tell you, you take Cam, I'll take Tua.
I do not want Cam.
I don't want Cam either, but everyone's hyped on him. I'm like, no, we'll see.
That'll be something we get into, man, in a second. Let's get to this other game now. Buccaneers Packers, man. Buccaneers Packers. Who do you like?
I really want the Buccaneers to win.
Just to rub it in my face.
Really do. I don't rub it in Burrow's face, especially Belichick's face. But it would be cool to see Aaron Rodgers go for a second chip. That'd be great too. And I respect the hell out of him. But you know what? No, I want Brady to go get a 7. I want him to get it, and I want him to. And everyone's still gonna hate him, but it's like, but they can't take that from him. That hey, I won seven Super Bowls.
I can take it away from him because fuck that guy. Screw that guy. No, I think this one's a tough one. I don't know too much about these teams. I think the Packers probably. So I don't know. Like they both have decent defenses. I think the Tampa Bay has better overall offensive weapons. Defense, it can be a little bit suspect. The only thing with Tampa Bay is they can flash hot and cold, and I know Antonio Brown's going to be out too.
He's not playing this game.
No, he's injured.
Ooh, okay, what about Godwin?
He'll play, but
okay. I don't know. Evans was kind of got hurt last game too, but should be okay. I'm thinking.
Yeah, so it's.
They should still be okay though, man. It's like you still got Gronk, Evans, Godwin, and you got that really fast white dude. Forget his name.
Dude, there's only like 3 of them in the world. How are you gonna forget their names?
Get his damn name. Scotty Milk. Scotty something.
If his last name is Milk, man, I'm done. I'm done.
Scotty home pasteurized milk. I think it's Scotty Miller, I'm gonna say. But anyway, see, he's another good receiver, man. People sleep on, and it's like those receivers.
Tom Brady can't. I think it's in his contract that he has to have a little white guy for a wide receiver.
Yes, I would say so, man. That's why I'm surprised he didn't go out to Cole Beasley when he left Dallas. It's like, okay, you gotta fill Brady's quota, man. Like you gotta have that little scampy white dude, and he had it with Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, why not Cole Beasley?
Yeah, man.
Like, why not? I really think if Beasley would have went there, I really think that I think Brady will still be in New England.
Maybe. I think Bill Belichick is ready to move on. I think both of them are trying to prove that they can
win without each other.
Yeah,
right.
And that's actually I'll say this. I'm sitting there thinking about it. I'm gonna root for Green Bay, but I actually think Tampa Bay is going to win. They have a better team overall. I just can't. I just.
Quarterback wise, who you going with? Who has a better matchup?
Quarterback. Right now, Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Tom Brady.
Okay. And then running back wise, Aaron Jones or Ronald Jones?
Aaron Jones.
Yeah,
gotta respect Aaron.
Yeah, exactly. And then you look at the receivers, and
this is where Tampa Bay has a distinct advantage.
Right.
But
although they don't have that mega home run hitter like Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is a freak, man.
Yeah, but what have I always said? Like your wide receiver can't be one massive alpha. Like teams that have that one guy generally don't win very often. They're usually better. Like I said, think of that. A team.
But there are those rarities though where it doesn't matter how many people you're trying to do. Like he's still catching that ball. You know, it don't matter.
Yeah, but that's great. Let's just look at this. Name me the last time a wide receiver was the primary weapon in an offense on a team that won the Super Bowl.
That won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, because I know there was Atlanta with Julio Jones.
And they didn't win.
I know, but that's what I mean. Like that was the last time a team like that has made the Super Bowl. Even. And like
you got Philadelphia.
Yeah, that was the time before. When? With Terrell Owens? Yeah, but think about how long ago. That was like 15 years ago, man.
Yeah.
16 years ago.
I mean, I'm not saying it's every year thing, but it does pop up every now and then.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
just think about it. Like, even throughout history, like, you can say, oh, the 49ers with Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice wasn't the primary offensive weapon. They had Roger Craig. They had Jonathan Taylor. Joe
Yeah,
Montana.
but for receivers, Jerry Rice was leading that crop for sure. There was
Yeah,
no doubt about
he was the best receiver there, but I mean, is it, he's the best receiver of all time, but do I think he's the greatest person that's ever played the position? No. I think a lot of his numbers came from longevity and starting to, playing in that transitional period where teams are moving away from being run centric into more pass first offense.
But wouldn't that make him more great then? If he's transitioning from era to era and still keeping up with everybody and longevity. It's like,
Yeah, I'm not
hey,
taking away from his greatness. I just don't think he's in, like, people talk about him being the best football player of all time. And I don't see it. I think LT's a better player than him. I think like Jim Brown, Walter Payton, like all those guys are better football players. Even in terms of wide receiver, I think Randy Moss was a better wide receiver than Jerry Rice. Doesn't have the numbers, but he was more uncoverable. He could do more on the football field than Jerry Rice could. Um, Steve Largent, he can be in that discussion.
Steve
Um,
Mark, man. Something you're doing every day.
yeah, I mean, I think people like Lynn Swan. I mean, I think there's other wide receivers out there that were definitely more talented than Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice, I mean, in baseball, he would be considered a stat accumulator. Like, he never had like those. Like, he can make big catches, made a lot of big catches. I mean, Chris Carter. I think Chris Carter could have been a better wide receiver. Tim Brown, more dynamic wide receiver. This is nothing against Jerry Rice. It's just I have a tendency not to look at statistics as the driving factor.
So what is your driving factor?
Just overall ability, like the way that they can teams have to contort to defend you. Like, I don't know how often teams, and I'm too young to be able to go back and analyze the film on this, but I don't know how often Jerry Rice was double covered. I know that when you had to defend against Randy Moss, you were shifting your entire secondary over to him.
You had to. There was no difference about it.
But
he was a walking 3 touchdown game.
But
easily.
The problem with that, and this is why I feel like teams with those dynamic number one wide receivers don't generally win, is because there's a level of predictability that comes with it. You know that they're going to throw the ball there. Like Calvin Johnson. You knew Calvin Johnson was going to get the ball. He was going up in triple coverage and pulling down the ball. But that
he was still getting it.
Yeah.
it didn't matter. And that's where Devontae Adams is right now.
Yeah.
He is on that level this year where it's like, it doesn't matter if he's double covered or triple covered. It's like, he's going to get that rock.
With those wide receivers, it doesn't always translate to wins. Like Calvin Johnson, it didn't translate into wins because sometimes you start forcing the ball into those receivers and into those situations instead of taking other options, and you don't spread the ball around as much, and the defense has an easier time defending it, even if you have a once in a generation player. That's why New England did so well with their complementary wide receiver setup. Like, even when you had Randy Moss, right? Your leading receiver in terms of catches was Wes Welker. It was a good complement. There were pieces that gelled together.
Yeah.
So that said, still Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think anybody's going to dictate to Aaron Rodgers who to throw the ball to. He's just going to get rid of the ball and do his thing. So that, I think that can negate that whole my last spiel.
Well, we'll see, man, because that's the last game?
No, it's the first game. It's the game after
first game?
Yeah.
Is it an NFC game?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Getting
Could you just imagine that? Imagine the headlines tomorrow. If Brady goes to the Super Bowl again. just the hate alone.
If
Oh,
Brady,
man.
if Brady and Buffalo are in the Super Bowl, man, I don't even know if I'm gonna watch because there's just so much hate. I don't know who to hate less to root for.
You want Buffalo getting their first Super Bowl?
No, I want them to
And
ever
you,
get a Super Bowl, and I don't want.
I mean, like, so then you would want the person outside of your conference to get that Super Bowl.
I don't want
right?
Brady to get a seventh Super Bowl.
7. People haven't even had seven playoff wins.
Ah,
I mean, just think about that for a second. You know what? When he's away from the game, when he's a good decade away from being in football,
mm-hmm.
will people look back and be like, man, you know what? I hated that dude, but numbers don't lie, you know?
Yes, they do. Numbers always lie.
Numbers never lie.
Who's the best basketball player of all time?
Oh. Jordan.
Yeah, it's not Bill Russell. He won 11 titles.
Well, we could go around this all day and do that, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm just saying numbers don't. Maybe numbers don't lie, but numbers don't, tell the empirical truth all the time either.
well, it's all in context too. It's like, how many seasons each of them play.
Well, Brady
level
played a hell of a
competition.
lot of seasons. Or are you
Yeah,
talking
he played
about?
what? He's playing what? This is his 20th season, 21st season. I mean, think about that alone. It's like he said that he never stopped training, and
You mean he
almost
never
kinda gotta
stopped
believe him.
cheating? There's a difference.
Whatever the case is.
You don't. Your arm doesn't get stronger in your 40s, man. I am sorry.
Oh, well, I'm pretty sure they're testing him. Pretty sure, like,
I'm
all
pretty
right.
sure he's got that Giselle money, man. Like he got some this undercover Botox fertility shit, man, that would make it completely untraceable. Like counterfeiters are always ahead of the testers, man, in any regard. Whether it's money, whether it's steroids. I mean, this dude just doesn't eat avocado ice cream and all of a sudden he's like the fountain fucking youth, man. That's not how that works.
It's okay, James. It's okay.
No, it's not
I get
okay.
it. I get it. If Brady were, if it was Miami winning all these years, I'd have the same amount of hate, dog.
But it's not.
I would.
Because
I'll
Miami
be-
plays by the rules. And we get bad and we try to get better.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, how the work out for New England this year?
I tell you what, man, let's transition over to like free agency. So I think we both have Tampa Bay, you have Buffalo, and I have the Chiefs. Those are the official Martha Sons picks. Free agency is going to be interesting. This offseason is going to be interesting because you're talking. I know Z shared with us yesterday that salary cap thing, and
Yeah, I didn't see that. Well, yeah.
New England is $50 million under the cap. Okay, and they were what, a 6-10 team this year?
Yeah.
So they're $50 million under the cap. They're not going to keep.
No, 7-9. We were 7-9, I think. We beat the
Okay,
Jets.
so yeah, you're 7-9. You're under the cap by $50 million. You're going to get some of your best defensive players back. You're in a decent spot to land one of the top quarterbacks in this draft. I think New England's going to be okay.
Hey, we'll see. We'll see how it works. Like I said, I think this year was a big. I think Belichick was, I don't know, messing around, trying different things to see what could work, what could possibly not work. I think it was a trial test year for him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was all right.
We'll see.
It was all right.
I even hear some, because you heard about Matt Stafford asking for a trade, right?
Yeah, but where the hell is he going to go? It's like, dude, you're a 12-year, a 13, 14-year vet quarterback.
Who just turned 33. So,
Oh, yes?
Yeah.
It's only 33?
Yeah.
Why does he feel like he's 43? Doesn't it feel that way? Like, we've been in the league forever.
New England's a possible destination for him, for Matt Stafford. So is Deshaun Watson.
I'd rather if I'm doing it, I'm gonna have that dude.
Well, yeah, that'll keep you in there for a while.
He has all the intangibles that Belichick wants out of a quarterback. He has all the intangibles I want in a quarterback.
With one exception, his cap hit. His cap hit is going to be massive because he's second highest paid. It's like 40 million or something like that.
Oof.
Like let me look it up real quick because I don't want to speak completely out of my ass, but I know it's big.
That's what she said.
Hey, not to me.
Hey, man, yeah, I don't. I was thinking about D Watt too, man. Like he's such a great quarterback, but
so
it's gonna work.
I think Patrick Mahomes signed like a 10-year contract.
Yeah, 10-year, 250 mil or something crazy.
Yeah, so Deshaun Watson signed a 4-year, $156 million contract this year. So like his base salary coming up this year is going to be $10.5 million with a $5.4 million signing bonus. His base salary in 2022 is $35 million. His base salary in 2023 is $20 million. So I heard something, and I'll just go back to Miami real quick. I heard some people talking like, hey, if you're Miami, you have to do everything you can to get Deshaun Watson. Trade the 3rd overall pick. Trade the 18th overall pick as well, and whatever it takes to get Deshaun Watson. Here's the problem: Miami does that. Miami still needs a lot of talent on their roster. You're going to bring Deshaun Watson in to an offensive line that isn't much better than what he's leaving in Houston, with a receiving core that has the worst separation in the league of any receiving core.
Really, Devontae Parker and Preston Williams have the worst separation.
Yeah, worst yards of separation. Yes.
Good God, that was New England last season.
Yeah. And yeah, you have an up and coming defense. You have a good coach. You have a budding culture and everything like that. You're bringing him in, and you're essentially mortgaging the future of your franchise to bring in a guy, and you're not going to be able to build around him. Like, we still need offensive line help. We need wide receiver help. We need pass rushing help. We need safety help. We need linebacking help. We're still like the fact that we.
Well, you guys are thinking all that. Why aren't you guys going after Stafford? His hit's not going to be as hard as Watson's.
No,
and
for
he can help develop Tua at the same time.
Yeah, but
Stafford
needs to go to a place that's win now. Like, even though Miami was a 10-win team, I think they overachieved.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But dude, don't forget, our division had by far the hardest schedule in the league. You guys won 10 games.
Yeah,
that's phenomenal. Like, our whole fucking schedule was nothing but playoff teams from the previous year.
And now the division technically could be getting harder, because if Robert Saleh and the Jets, if they can reset that culture, which I don't know if they can, nothing against him. I think culture it doesn't start from the head coach, it starts from the ownership. And if your owner is dysfunctional, then that's just going to trickle down. So he has a lot of work ahead of him. He has a roster full of holes and things like that. He's got, but if he gets that ship righted, you still have Buffalo. New England is still New England. I mean, until proven otherwise. Like, a down year is a down year. I mean, Bill Cowher went 6-10 before he won the Super Bowl. So I mean,
oh God. Let's not speak of the little things. But anyway, go ahead.
So, the AFC East could be a very tough division in general. And like I said, I mean, you need to have talent to win that division. So, I wouldn't trade away, like people were talking about, trade the 3rd overall pick and get Deshaun Watson. No. I'm either taking someone with that 3rd overall pick, or the trade that I like the best, if it shakes out this way, is trading with Carolina to move down to the 8th pick. And then with that 8th pick, taking Jalen Waddle as opposed to Jamar Chase or Devonta Smith.
Devonta Smith, though. Like, come on.
Yeah, Jalen
I
Waddle.
was like, how many receivers win the Heisman?
Yeah,
You know, like none. So
but I um Jalen Waddle was actually having like more yards per catch and more yards period than Devonta Smith before he got hurt. Remember, he was hurt like he only played 4 games this year before he got hurt. And he's faster. He's probably close to Tyreek Hill speed. He's faster than Henry Ruggs.
damn. What the better catch radius?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, and yeah, he's not as high coming out right now, but I mean, if we can get him the 8th overall pick up picks next year, I would do that trade in a heartbeat, man. That's massive. Let Carolina go and pick one of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I mean, you know how football is. It's rare when your number one actually does become a household name. You know what I mean? Um, the best players always comes in rounds 2 through 4. Those are where the bulk of your talent, the talent comes from.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it's like I'd rather have like 4 number 2 picks than 2 number 1 picks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I know those picks are gonna go a lot further down the line. They usually do. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys are a lot closer than what you think, man.
Yeah, but
I think a lot closer. I think Tua's gonna make a lot of improvements.
man, if he does, and he can start balling out like he did in Alabama and getting that ball down the field, I mean, it'll be a really interesting division to see, man. But I don't know, man. Football, I can't believe it's almost over, though.
I know. I remember just thinking to myself, like, wow, like we didn't even know what to do for fantasy this year. Like, are we gonna? I was like, well, I was thinking the league was gonna be over by week 3. I was like, there's no way it's gonna survive.
Yeah.
You know, this pandemic just going crazy, and they've done a pretty solid job, and they're probably gonna have to do this again, beginning of next season. You know, I think it'll be less than what it is right now, but we won't have like herd immunity till like the middle of 2022.
Yeah.
So,
well, here's an interesting question for you, though. If you're Roger Goodell and you're working with the NFLPA, do you require vaccination?
yes, absolutely.
I don't know. I feel like the NFLPA would push back against it.
Well, how do you combat a dominant virus like this? You know what I mean? The kill count isn't a definite thing when you get it. You know, but I don't know. I think at this point, I'd rather be safe than sorry.
I mean, right now the kill count is approaching like average flu levels.
Yeah, like 1 or 2%.
Well, no, I'm just even talking about the sheer numbers. I think like 200,000 to 400,000 people every year die from the flu in the country. I'm not downplaying the virus at all.
Is it that high? 400,000 people die a year from the flu?
Yeah, I think so.
No way.
That's crazy. Let me internet it up.
Those are crazy numbers.
Let me throw some.
Those are that's insane. How the hell are we not hearing? There you go, 400,000. Like literally the population of the city of Erie. Actually, I think it's lower than 400K. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, it might. Like I thought maybe that's worldwide.
Even worldwide, that's insane.
That's
insane worldwide.
So this is dated 2017. So it's not the it's not the most up-to-date information, but this is from the World Health Organization. Up to 650,000 people die of respiratory disease linked to seasonal flu each year.
Get the hell out.
Yeah, between 290, 650. I mean, you got to think that's with a vaccine.
That's nuts.
Yeah,
those numbers are nuts.
And that's what I mean, not to get too like political in it, but that's a lot of what you hear from like the right. It's like, hey, these a lot of people dying from the flu every year. How come we're not worried about that? How come we're not requiring masks and everything for that? And it's like, well, because we have a vaccine. But
Yeah.
that's the thing. This disease, it's because it's I mean, no pun intended. It's novel. It's new right now.
Yeah.
There's I was reading things that this could just become another common cold in the future.
Oh, that's what it's gonna have to be. It's not going away.
No,
It's just mutating and hanging around like every other virus.
but
So
it's just like, I mean, so let me think about this. Like, are you? Let me rephrase the question this way: Are you going to get a vaccine right now?
I prefer not to.
Okay.
And
When
if
you,
my job requires it, then I
yeah,
will get it.
I was going to say if your job requires it, but legally, can your job require that?
Probably. It probably can. Even once you sign that equal opportunity employment thing, when they could fire you basically for
Yeah,
leaving if they don't like it, then
but
yeah, it's like they can.
but the terms of that weren't in your equal opportunity, weren't in your at will employment when you first started up. Like the
No,
terms and
but there
conditions.
is that clause saying that they can fire you for, basically whatever they deem necessary. So
Yeah,
that could you can lump in a lot of things with that. A lot of
but
unforeseen.
but the problem is,
Uh,
um, that doesn't work the way that companies want it to work because it's still really difficult to fire people. Like they have to have a cause to be able to fire you. So, and that cause can't be like, say you objected to the vaccine on religious grounds. If they fired you because you didn't get the vaccine, now you would have a lawsuit for
ooh,
religious discrimination.
ooh, yeah, yeah. Can you imagine that though? It's like, no, I mean, there's only one religion I know that would probably win that, and that'll be Rastafarianism. You know, really outside of that, it's like I don't know what other religion says you can't. Oh, never mind. That's all. Can't
What do you mean that you
remember.
can't get vaccines?
Or you actually can't like input anything inside of your body or
Oh,
do anything.
there's a lot like a lot of like radical Christian sects. I think even like the Seventh Day Evangelists, like Jehovah's Witnesses, like I think they are that they won't let you do that.
Mhm.
I mean, it's I mean, but how do you prove it? How like that's the thing. Like if you're a company and you can say no, we did this for this reason. How can you prove that it wasn't religious discrimination? Especially if it's something that you've never done before. Now, the company can encourage it, but it's just like I don't know. But it's kind of like the same thing with like drug tests. The only reason why, like, can the company fire you for
Mhm.
drinking alcohol? Now, not drinking alcohol on the job, that's something different. But if you
Mhm.
were just an alcoholic, could they fire you?
If it's not on company property, I don't see how they could. You
Could they?
know,
Yeah, but they can fire you for passing a drug test or for failing a drug test, right?
right?
But that's
Well,
because those
absolutely.
drugs are illegal. Right now, it's not illegal for you to not have a vaccine.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, which it could be, and that's a dangerous slope. Like you can't
Yeah.
like I like it, again. I'm gonna try to stay away from political lines here, but the problem with big government is the same problem as an overprotective parent. Right? You encourage dependency and you don't encourage autonomy. You don't encourage growth. And and it's not even an overprotective parent. It's akin to where the parent takes care of everything and doesn't let the child fail. Um, they can become obnoxious. They can become entitled. They can
Yes.
become all those things that we accuse millennials and Gen Zers of being. Like they think they
Hmm.
deserve everything and they want everything. They don't have to work for it. That's the fear of having an overprotective government. Now, that isn't to say that the government shouldn't offer a lot of protection in some cases, but it shouldn't be for all cases. You know, like I've said, I think what I said to you before, like in my opinion, it needs to be case by case. We need to get to a place in this country where we can look at events as individual events as opposed to part of a large narrative, because that's where we're stuck at right now. We're all just looking at large narratives, and it's dangerous.
What do you think that we should all, if it were up to you, would you right now, would you just open up the country then and just let everything go, and then whoever needs a vaccine will get the vaccine when they need it, and then
I think uh, I don't know. I think I would probably be more inclined to having real hard and fast guidelines, because I think one of the things that people get real concerned with is, hey, you say you're going to shut down, but you don't have parameters for when you're going to open back up. So it would be one of those things like, okay, if the infections rate in this community is over this level, then yeah, we're going to have a shutdown. And we're going to, when we have a shutdown, we're going to have a shutdown. Like nothing's going to be open. Very few things are there. But I'm also the person, you know, because I do want to support like small businesses and things like that. If the government is going to order any sort of shutdown, then they have to be able to take care of the businesses and the people. They have to make sure that, you know, if you're ordering a small barbershop to shut down because they're considered non-essential, then they have to be willing to cover the rent and cover the lost salaries of people, you know, through unemployment or different mechanisms.
yeah,
Because it's not it's not like they failed their business because of
no, it's unforeseen circumstances,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like something that happens once every 100 years, you
Yeah.
know, it seems like now. Yeah, well, how could you do that to a company? So, yeah, I don't see why the government can't just say, hey, look, banks, I know you want your money.
Mhm.
Okay, I know you need your money, but we're going to have to put a kibosh on that
Yeah.
from I don't know, like, okay, March of 2020. How about till, let's go till April of 2021.
Yeah.
Let's see if you go that long. Like,
Mhm.
don't worry, we'll just put everything, whatever's owed them, we'll put that at the back end of your term, of your contract.
Yeah. I mean, I would do something more along the lines of, I would want to guarantee the individual more than I would want to guarantee a company. Because but you know, and I'm talking about things like rent control and things like that. Smaller companies, yeah. Bigger companies, I don't think I'm helping out much at all, because they should have the wherewithal to be able to survive.
Oh, yeah, I gotta look at your insurance.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, love working for them, but they're not losing any money. You know what I mean? If anything, they're gaining.
Yeah, and they have the, you know, there's a lot of people that have the options to work from home and things like that. I don't think I would the one thing I wouldn't do is having resources go around to reinforce things, because I think that's just like a waste of money. Because at the same time, like if you choose to not wear a mask out in public, you know, that might be on you, you know, and it might be, you know, like, I try not to go out unless it's something that I absolutely need, or it's going to be in a place where I'm completely by myself, like going out fishing or something like that. Other than that, you know, I'm staying at home. I'm staying away. That's my choice to do that. Even if my company makes a stipulation like, hey, to come back into the office, you need to get a vaccine. Well, okay, I'll stay at home then, as long as you can't fire me for it, you know.
What I'm most worried about with all this is my kids. You know, they say it's mandatory for your children to get vaccines in order for them to go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
but here's the thing.
I can get it for myself. There's not enough long-term studies done enough
Yeah.
to see like what it's going to do to my kids. It's like, so I don't know. Like, as far as that,
and
like,
let's be honest,
that terrifies me.
there's not, and I don't know if there's been enough studies to determine if there's any effects on a racial level. Because I mean, I mean, look at it. There are diseases out there, if I'm going to be honest, like sickle cell, that only impacts a certain group of
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Um, is is there any truth to that? For like they've already said that this virus is worse for African Americans.
Yes, and Latinos.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
now that could just be a correlation and not causation. I mean, is heart disease? I mean, and I'm asking this legitimately. I don't know. Is like heart disease and cholesterol, is that more prevalent in like an African American community and Latino communities and white communities?
I can't say for sure, but right now I will say yes. 'Cause I know, like, I don't like high blood pressure and
Yeah,
cholesterol. Yes, so
it's that soul
I'm not a
food.
doctor. Hey, you know what? If you ain't eating, you ain't living. So
Yeah, but you're also not living long either. No.
I want to live free, Jared.
But yeah, I mean, it's tough, man, because you don't. I mean, people need to be able to go about doing their own thing. Like the only thing with the masks is, again, the mask is about protecting everybody else and not protecting yourself. It's not going to keep you from getting the disease. It's just limiting the numbers. Um, but you know, like I probably would have been more aggressive. Like I I would like to think that if I were in charge and things would have shipped out the way that I would have had them, if I had complete autonomy, I would have done things a lot differently. Like I would have closed the borders to China down immediately.
Yes,
You know,
that
and
would have to be. I mean, like, you know it's going to get over here. That's just the nature of things. But it's like, but the minute you hear about that virus, it's like, yes, we're shutting down all flights to and from China. Done. No,
well,
we
it's
don't want
funny
any part of
because
that.
I think Trump tried to do that, and then he was criticized for not allowing people to come into the country, if I remember correctly. I know it was something that he wanted to do, and it was voted against because there's a lot of business over in China too. They don't want to close those borders unless they absolutely have to.
There's a lot of business over there, but so, I mean, nobody saw this thing going crazy like
No,
this. You know what I mean? We all
but
thought it was going to be something in and out real quick.
that
To have it shut down the world for what going on damn near a year
yeah.
now. You
So I
know,
mean that's one thing I would have done. I would have, and I know another thing, and trust me, I'm no Trump apologist, despite what Azim thinks. Um, I think he did try to use that, like he didn't want to use that World War II like clause that could convert all the factories and everything to like start producing different equipment, right? He was trying to get everything to be handled state by state, but that turned into be a problem because state by state, states like New York that needed like PPE, they needed those supplies. States like I think it was Michigan or something had a surplus of them but wouldn't share them with other states. Like that's where I come in and just say, yo, guys, we're all in this together. If you've got them stockpiled, you need to share them with the places because if we can slow down the spread in other places, we're going to make it take longer to get to these to like your location.
yeah,
Like I get it, you're trying to prepare for the future, but we have to deal with the now, or otherwise we won't get to the future. And if you're really worried about it, then you need to talk to your companies about producing and manufacturing these things. And
yeah,
then I would have been trying to figure out different single points of failures. Like for example, like a lot of a, my from what my brother had told me, I think a lot of like the shots, like the hypodermic needles and stuff, they get made in like one location. And it's like Trinidad or something like that, and that's it. Like they all come from one place where they're not domestically manufactured.
jeez. So if one little thing goes down with that area or that company, then the world is screwed.
Yeah,
How messed up is that, man? It's like you would think that we would at least have a few mills out here that create hypodermic needles.
yeah.
You know?
I mean, you would, but it costs more to make it here. That's why. because we would have to pay the employers, which we should be doing anyway. I mean, this whole thing, like everybody wants to talk about capitalism versus socialism versus communism versus all this stuff. None of it is going to work because we have a fundamental problem with human greed. People that make a lot of money only want to make more money. And instead of like, okay, I have enough money, let me put some money back into other people and making sure that they have enough money too.
Oh man, oh dude, if that were the mental condition of our people, you know, of all humans, we would literally be thousands of years ahead of where we are now.
Yeah.
You know,
and in it's funny because in small communities, it is. It's only when you start getting away from having to deal with day to day, like actual survival, that things start breaking down.
Yeah.
But I think that's enough pontification and soapboxing for today. You know,
look at all these college words, pontification.
Oh man, I get that all the time. Like I said something on a conference call. My dad's like, "Why'd you use that word?" I'm like, "Shut up, dude." I used it because it was the best word for that particular situation.
Fancy college words, baby. I got a busted for you, Jimmy.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do. You know,
Song love, baby.
It is. What goes around comes around. Remember that.
Yeah, I know.
Because with my my vocabulary verisimilitude, I will be able to, you know, find different ways to insult you in ways that you may not be able to perceive with your finite mindscape.
Wow, I don't know whether to applaud that or cry for you.
You should. You should do both.
Both.
I will insult you in different ways, and that will be great.
Hey, as long as Shakespeare's, you know, helping out with it, then I'm good.
You mean Sir Francis Drake?
Yeah, him too. Sir Francis.
Yeah, you never heard that, right? Have you heard about that?
That's pretty good.
There's a theory out there that a lot of Shakespeare stuff was actually written by Sir Francis Drake.
No.
Yeah, he was like the ghostwriter for Shakespeare. I don't know if it's true or not. It's just fun to say, man.
I mean, not only that, but how did this information come about? You know,
just like research, like looking at different ways that things were written and stuff.
Jeez.
Can
they say which ones that he ghost wrote? I mean, because you know, you got Macbeth. Macbeth got a lot of lines in it, man, that people use today. You know, man, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, it's just like a conspiracy. I'm trying to see if there's any like information on it. It's just something I heard. I kind of hope it's true because it would be kind of fun. But if it's not, it's not. It is what it is. Let's see. So one of the main proofs is that that he didn't write his plays. We don't have any of his manuscripts or his handwriting. That's what they say. Lack of manuscripts. Blah, blah, blah. Non-believers also argue that Shakespeare was barely mentioned in his own time, but that's simply not true. Yeah, I guess this whole thing was just debunking that, but I don't know. It would be like a new Da Vinci Code, man. Maybe I'll make a movie, write a movie about that, you know, called the Drake Code or something, and not have it be in Toronto.
The Drake Code. Wouldn't that be something? Did Shakespeare write his own shit?
And he admitted to it. He admitted to it in the whole Cyrano de Berg or whatever his name was.
Huh?
You remember that? Remember Cyrano, the guy who spoke for the other dude?
You're losing, man.
Okay, so it was that one Shakespeare play. I forget which play it was. Where this guy is trying to talk to a woman and he's really bad at it, and he has this other dude talk for him. So he like tells him what to say.
I knew all of his works. I mean,
Cyrano de Bergerac.
I mean, Midsummer's Night Dream and Julius Caesar. Everybody did that.
So Cyrano de Bergerac, because they actually remade the movie modern day with Steve Martin called Roxanne,
Oh, okay.
where he would like dude would be hiding in the bushes. So yeah, he's so Cyrano is basically, I think he's kind of like ugly or whatever.
Okay.
Um, let's see. This doubt prevents him from expressing his love to his distant cousin, the beautiful intellectual Roxanne, as he believes that his ugliness would prevent him the dream of being loved by even an ugly woman. Like he thinks he's so nasty that he can't get love.
Wait, what was that first line about his distant cousin? Can you say that again? I just want to make sure I heard that right.
Let's see. Yeah, so he said he doubts himself and he doubts his ugliness, and he says, I think the quote or pseudo quote was, he believes his ugliness would prevent him the dream of being loved by even an ugly woman.
Damn.
Like he was so nasty, yeah, he's so nasty that he didn't think it. He's kind of like me, right?
Oh, shut up. No, but I thought you said something about his cousin. Like,
Oh yeah, it's his
distant
cousin. Yeah, it's his cousin that he's trying to.
Like he's trying to rap to his cousin? Is that what I'm hearing? Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, come on, man. This is like old English time.
Yeah, I guess. I was like, oh, you're my mom's cousin. Okay, what, 3 removed? Okay, yeah, sure, we can bang. Yeah.
So basically, there's this other dude that's trying to bang his cousin, and he's like teaching him how to say all this stuff. So he offers his services, including his own unsigned letter to Roxanne. So basically, I'm looking at this as this is a confession. This is his way of saying Sir Francis Drake is my Cyrano de Bergerac.
Wow. Sounds like Raphael Delegato.
Uh-huh. All right.
Remember that Fresh Prince episode?
Uh-huh. That's probably where they got it from.
Right?
All right, boss.
Amen.
I think we're going to stop the show there, and we will try to pick it up next week. Hopefully, we'll be able to live stream again. If not, I will...
Ooh, and Super Bowl win picks. Yeah!
Super Bowl show!
Ooh! We'll talk about how right I was this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, fam. We'll catch you later.
Peace.